The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It would be a sin if I were to lie and say that the ribbon that bound these psalms into my brain didn't seem to unwind and float from me like mishandled birthday balloons. It would be a sin if I were to lie and say that I haven't spent nights wondering whether or not each one managed to make it to heaven. And it would be a sin if I were to lie and say that I haven't been taught that gay boys' prayers never make it to God. I've always been attracted to guys with names like John, David, and Daniel, guys that made my irises twinkle because they always seem to have the sun in their eyes, but I will never forget Matthew. The son of a shepherd that was made to lie down in green pastures, chained to a fence and beaten to death, and I wonder if the last words he spoke from his last breath was a prayer. He has become a project. He wasn't a hate crime, he was a crucifixion. His dead body was a pitch yellow warning sign for girls who didn't like the taste of candy curls, and for boys who played with Barbies behind closed doors, and for the kids that hid from monsters and never felt safer anywhere else but the closet. Who do you think they were hiding from? I cannot count the amount of times I've heard the word faggot uttered so easily by someone who's called me a friend, by someone who I've called a father, and I don't bother to collect the stories of all the faggot boys whose deaths are finally making headline news because I refuse to become desensitized. Casualty should never become casual, and I casually remind myself that a faggot is a bundle of burning twigs, and some people would rather see me as ashes, but I knew that I was created to live, and I know that I was created to pass. It's that Christian and sinner is not mutually exclusive, and that liar and Christian isn't mutually exclusive, and that homosexual and Christian isn't mutually exclusive, and I've prayed and I've cried and I've become immune to the Bibles that have been used as weapons. Paper cuts should have never caused mortal wounds, and the truth is that the nightmare of halos that turn into nooses were never promised to a boy like me. The Bible wasn't written by Stephen, just the king, but people have turned verses into horror stories, and I have heard all their stories. In my Jamaican narratives, they've called me the chichi man, and it's grown so convoluted that I can't seem to understand how this oppression is a form of praise, and it's so hard to tell. How can one be worshiping God when singing the preamble to hell for every gay bash kid holding on to "It Gets Better" when it may be a lie? Because every day on the day that I was born marks the same day that Matthew Shepard died. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is Matthew Shepard. The Lord is me. The Lord is we. So why do we keep destroying us? Don't mask dissolution pride over the traces of wisdom of my youth, and don't confuse political campaigning from my own personal truth. My voice is made of faith, and it was made to speak. My wrists are made of life, and they refuse to bleed the blood of every gay boy that's crucifying himself to get closer to God. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And though I may walk through the streets in the shadow of death, I will fear no people, because his rod and his staff comfort me, and I'm sure his goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life.